Live?
All right, how's everyone doing out there? Good to see you tonight. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza.
Hello, hello.
And we are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza.
Thanks for messing the name up.
Yeah, I know, right? It's because I had to do it twice. The folks that were first on TikTok, they know all about this stuff.
Yes.
We are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. We come to you every week. We've been doing it on Monday nights. We're about to switch over to Wednesday nights, and we're here from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And we're on Facebook Live. We, at the same time, are also on TikTok. I want to say hello to all the TikTok folks out there. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the hearts and the love.
Yeah.
Love that. Thanks for the badge.
Yeah, we like to get a lot of information to y'all. And we also just have a lot of fun. Doing it. So if you have any questions, get them posted, whether you're on TikTok or on Facebook, get the questions posted. We sometimes bring you immigration updates if there's a lot going on. Sometimes there are big court decisions that have come out, or policy changes or executive orders. There's not a whole lot in that category, those categories going on right now tonight.
For this week, yeah.
For this week. But in the event that there is, we always bring them to you and sort of break them down, explain them to you, and make sure you know what you need to know about them. So you do want to make sure you're coming back here every week. But the main thing we like to do is field your questions. So if you get your questions in, and we can go ahead and get them answered. I will warn you that what we do here is not legal advice. It is for informational and educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not legal advice.
Some of you guys like this kind of entertainment. Don't lie.
Yeah. Well, some people come on here just to give us a hard time. We've gotten some pretty gnarly comments through the years.
We ignore those, guys. We just go right over them and just all good.
Yep, some people insult me, tell me how shiny my head is. I've heard it all.
Oh, that's not nice.
I know, but it's okay, because you know what? I'm willing to endure it.
For you guys.
That's right. To get the information out to y'all that you need.
Okay.
That's the entertainment part right there.
Yeah, that is the entertainment part. So let's go ahead and you want to give a quick, you have some things to say, right?
Oh, super briefly. So one thing I did want to mention, USCIS did just issue a reminder today that if when you file the I-693 or medical with the I-485, if that I-485 is withdrawn or is rejected, and you have to then ultimately file another I-485, just remember, you do have to submit a new medical. All right. I guess they must have been having some issues with that because they took the time and effort to issue a statement about that today and a reminder. So just be aware of that. Probably most of you know that, but if you didn't, now you do. Okay.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is something that we're getting ready to put together. We've been working on it, and we're going to be launching it pretty soon. While some of these questions start to load up.
Thanks for the badges, the hearts, the roses. Appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, we can't. We have a lot of clients. We can't help everyone. Some folks are in a situation where there's just not an immigration remedy that is available for them, and so for those folks, and really for anybody who just wants to get better sleep and peace of mind, we're putting together a family preparedness plan that we're going to be making available to all of our clients and anyone who is interested. And what it basically is going to be is a collection of really important, useful information about how to be prepared if something does happen with immigration. I'm sure you all have seen some of the things on news, and the concern is if you have children, for example, maybe you're at work, something happens and you get picked up by ICE, are you prepared? Your child is going to get let out of school, and you're not going to be there. And so what contingency plans do you have in place? Have you talked to any family members or neighbors about what you might do in a situation like that? And even if somebody's willing to help, they're going to have documents in order to be able to help you. And I don't mean like legal documents like they're a citizen or they're a permanent resident. I mean, they're going to have legal documents like a power of attorney, for example. So if they're going to be able to go to the bank and access money, say to try to post a bond for you or to try to pay for something for your child, for food or whatever it may be, they're going to have access to your bank account, and they're not going to be able to do that unless there is a power of attorney in place. They're not going to be able to enroll the child in summer camps or in school, for example, unless they have the proper guardianship documents in place. And so we're going to be putting all of this together in one packet. And it also is going to have a lot of information about, just what your immigration options are, how the system works, important emergency contact numbers for you to reach if you need to, what your rights are if something like that does happen, and we will make it all available to you. So, instructions on medication. Let's say you have a child who has to take some sort of a medication and they're out of medication and you're just trying to get their prescription filled and they won't do it because who are you? You're just the aunt. You're just the neighbor. You don't have any legal rights. And you're trying to tell them, yeah, but his mom and dad got picked up and, they're in custody right now. That's not going to cut it. You're going to need legal documentation in order to carry out the daily necessities that child or other loved one, it may not be a child, is going to need. So we'll keep you posted. We're working on it. And I think it's going to be a great, great resource for everyone to have. And so we're really excited about it.
Yeah. And John and I will be doing a webinar soon about it and let you guys know how you can sign up. And it will be a free webinar on these important documents. I know a lot of other immigration groups that are nonprofits are giving this type of information out, but we also want to share this information so that for those of you who this applies to, that you're prepared, right? There's a lot of things that we can't control, right? Whether it's with immigration, whether it's with our health, there's so many things that we can't control. But being prepared is one thing that we can control. And this is something that John and I have thought about, and we want to bring it into our practice right now. We did this after the first Trump administration. We were offering powers of attorney, and I know that helped out our clients quite a bit. And so just stay tuned. And for those of you who are on Facebook and LinkedIn, if you want to, if you want to just put in the comments and we can reach out to you, you can put family plan in the comments and we'll get the information out to you and make sure that when our webinar is going to happen. So
yeah, and at the very least, you should have information. I mean, even outside of the immigration world, just as adults, I mean, we have, like if something happens to me, filing cabinet, a place where we can, quickly find the important information that we would need, things like the names of the bank accounts, the doctor's offices, the car insurance information, where does the mortgage get paid, all this kind of stuff. Where are the tax returns? What are the code? What are the passwords to get into these things? This is the kind of stuff that you really need to have in order. It may seem like overkill. I promise you it's not. If you find yourself in a situation where you're in custody and you can't reach people, you're going to be very happy that you put this in place for them. So at the very least, that they are able to tend the personal and financial affairs that need to be tended to while the whole thing is pending. All right.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Let us grab our first question, couple of questions off of TikTok. There have been many since you've been talking.
Right.
And we signed on to TikTok early to just make sure that you guys could hear us. And it looks like that you can, and hopefully we don't have any internet trouble. All right.
And we told these people on TikTok who were here 5 minutes early and who had to hear the introduction twice. And so they heard me do it once perfectly and then jumble it when it was actually showtime. We told them their questions would come first. So let's see, what is the very first question? Is Monica. Okay, Monica wants to know, my husband is a resident going to DR in August for family vacation. Is that okay to do?
So Monica is asking a travel question. husband is a lawful permanent resident of the United States. Lawful permanent residents of the United States are allowed to travel outside of the United States. We don't want our clients traveling outside of the United States for more than 180 days, certainly not more than a year, because it could be deemed as abandonment. So, Monica, the answer to that question is, I have a couple of follow-up questions.
I do too.
So, number one, does your husband have any type of criminal record history that would make him inadmissible to the United States? So you will know whether he has a criminal record history, or maybe you don't, like ask him. But you might not know what makes a person inadmissible, ineligible to come back to the United States with a criminal history record. So that's the first question. That's the most important thing. The other question is, has your husband traveled outside of the United States for more than 6 months or a year, where if he's coming back in on this trip, they're going to say, hey, on so-and-so, such and such date, you were out of the United States for, more than a year. I think that you abandoned your green card. Show us how you did not abandon your green card. Now, these things, Monica, probably don't apply to your husband, but we're talking about them just for the benefit of those who it might apply to, and maybe it does apply to your husband. The other question I have is, is your husband protesting right now? Is your husband putting anti-Semitic Facebook post, or is he at a protest where it could be deemed as terrorist activity against the U.S. government? I mean, these are really important questions, and we haven't asked these questions before, but we're certainly asking them now, and asking our clients what their social media history looks like. And it's a big deal, and not something to be taken lightly, depending on what your Facebook posts are like, or your social media posts are like. You don't know how relieved I am when we are interviewing a potential new client for citizenship, or even for the green card, when they say, oh, I don't even have social media. No, I don't post anything on social media. Such a relief, right? Because it's another layer to get through if the immigration officer is going to give you a hard time about these things. So these are the questions, Monica. I'm sure your husband is totally fine to travel to the DR.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he has a great time, and hope you're going as well. But for those of you who are traveling, these are questions that you have to ask yourselves. Over the past couple of months, there's been a lot of social media, a lot of news about people who are lawful permanent residents, long-term lawful permanent residents, coming back into the United States, getting detained. And I know that many people are worried about that. You typically don't have anything to worry about unless you answer yes to any of those questions. And if you do answer yes to those questions, it doesn't mean that your husband can't travel, right? If your husband has a DUI conviction, and that's the only thing that he has on his record, Monica's like, my husband does not have a DUI. This is hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
Then he should be fine. But again, a little word to the wise is carry the certified disposition. Make sure your fines are paid for any convictions that you might have. If you have charges that were dropped, carry that paperwork, and make sure that when you're coming through, you're not relying on their computer system to tell them what you did or didn't do, or what was dropped, or what was charged, or what type of conviction it was. Carry your own documentation to show it was taken care of. I paid my fine. It's all finished and complete. You can't be too careful, and you cannot be over prepared. There's no such thing right now when you're coming through Customs and Border Protection through the airport. So anyhow, hopefully that answers your question. It was a long answer to the question.
Yeah, Monica, Radlin covered all of it.
Did I?
Yeah, I just would add briefly that, again, going back to the criminal conviction, the thing is, you can be fooled because you might think that what the criminal conviction is not going to be a problem, and it is. And you might even be fooled by thinking, oh, well, we've done stuff with immigration and we didn't get deported for it, so it must be fine. We got to be clear here. The rules are not the same to be deported as they are when you're coming back in. Deep removal and inadmissibility are two different things. So some things that won't get you kicked out of the club, okay?
The country club.
Might be things,
the U.S. country club.
Might be things that would have prevented you, though, from getting into the club. Like if you're in the club and you're doing it, you're not going to get kicked out. But if you go out to the parking lot and then you come back in, they may not let you back into the club based on whatever it was you were doing. So that's an analogy, of course.
Yeah. One thing is possession of marijuana, right? So lawful permanent residents, please do not partake. Is that right? Do not partake in marijuana use. Or
Right.
that doesn't sound like a
It's
good
legal in
sentence.
a lot of states. It is not legal under federal law, so don't be fooled.
Yes.
Like, oh, I live in Colorado, I'm good. You're not.
No. You have a bunch of marijuana pictures on your phone and you're coming back in. You're a permanent resident. This is a problem, guys. This is a problem. And admitting to marijuana use or possessing, it just, these are little things. We're not going to get, we have so many. Let's move on. Let us move on.
We've been doing this for 25 years. We've seen a lot. Well, we'll leave it at that. Missing in action, wanted to know, I can answer this one. Hi, how are you guys? Missing in action, we are doing great.
Thank you so much for asking.
And thank you for asking.
I hope you are doing well too.
How are you doing? He's missing in action.
Okay.
All right, we have a bunch of questions over here. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, let's grab Jessica's question. Jessica says, is it possible to continue a traditional interview at the immigration office? For example, an asylum interview or a family petition interview. Context is considering how people are being picked up at their interviews lately. It would be ideal to try to continue it and I hope it's extended past this president's term. So you can continue something, but if you have an I-130 petition interview and you don't have an adjustment of status application filed with it, like it's a standalone I-130 petition and the beneficiary is here in the United States and maybe undocumented, and they schedule you for an interview at the local office right now, that could mean trouble, and the question is, can you schedule it out? Like, can we get this continued until after this president's term? That's going to be 4 years minus 140-ish days, right? So no, that's not typically going to happen. Going to asylum, it takes a long time for an asylum interview. So you could file your asylum case and yes, you could not have an interview for the next 4 years for sure. I mean, that's a possibility. But if you get called in for an I-130 petition interview, and there's no adjustment of status attached to it, and your family member is undocumented, there's a reason why you're getting called into that interview. It may be so you can get your case in immigration court terminated. I mean, there's just a lot of different scenarios. So yes, you can continue an interview within reason and for a reason. You can't just, I don't want to go to it because I don't like what the weather is like. I don't like this president. No, that's not a reason. I mean, we have to continue interviews sometimes because we're out of town, right? The attorney wants to accompany the client and we're out of town. So that's a reason. Maybe the client's out of town. That's a reason. And so, yes, you can continue, but no, not for 4 years.
Yeah, this is kind of a variation on a question that we've been getting and comments we've been hearing. This idea that, well, I'm just going to lay low. You're talking about almost 4 years. And
right.
So, there's nothing wrong right now with going forward with your immigration cases, as long as you're careful and you're having them scrutinized by a professional. So, if you're concerned, of course, we get it. But what you ought to do is call us or an immigration lawyer that you're comfortable with, if it's not us, and talk to a professional and figure out whether you should be going forward right now and what the options are. I mean, there are cases that sometimes we don't file at all for various reasons. But the sort of hiding out, that's a long time to be hiding out. And just, it could be getting worse, it could be getting worse, not better. So, you may be shooting yourself in the foot. It's kind of like, trying to track where the hurricane's going to go and leaving your hometown to go to another place to avoid the hurricane. And then the hurricane shifts and hits the place you went to. So I would just call professionals right now. Stay
Call
calm.
us.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Call us. Have a consultation, and then we can let you know what the best course of action is. All right.
Right. And to John's point, to Jessica's point, I just want to reiterate that, we are doing cases every day. We are still filing I-130 petitions. We are still filing naturalization applications. In fact, our clients who are recently hiring us for they have doubled, right? I mean, many people are getting it, right? Many people who are lawful permanent residents, even if they have a criminal conviction from over 5 years ago, even if they have something in their history that they're not crazy about, we're looking at these cases, we are analyzing, we are moving forward because our clients don't want to be afraid for the next few years, right? Maybe you've procrastinated in filing for citizenship. I'm not going to get on this high horse of citizenship. It's too early in the night, but but people are starting to understand that this administration is putting out a lot of scary things, and a lot of scary things are happening in communities. But for those who have a pathway to become a citizen, take the path and become a U.S. citizen. For those who have a pathway to get a green card, no, you're not going to wait for 4 years. If you have a pathway to get a green card, why would you do that? That's 4 years. It takes 17 months just to get an I-130 petition approved. Like, you're halfway there, right? I'm meeting with someone, and we message each other through with software, right? With like an app or whatever. And someone's calling me back from 1 year ago, and they didn't hire us to file the petition for mom. And it's been 1 year. They're calling me back now over 12 months later, and they now want to file that petition for mom. Anyway, just do the thing, guys. Don't wait 12 months. The months and months go by really quickly. We totally get it. But U.S. immigration is still open. If you have a case and you want to bring a family member over here, this is not the time to be like, I'm going to wait 4 years. Your case is already going to take a really long time. Why would you do that? All right, let's get next question.
Yeah, just
next question.
Well,
TikTok, let's go.
We're passionate about this because we're seeing success every day. We're still, and we just want to make sure we feel like with a lot of the calls and the comments that we're getting the sense that people are watching the news, they're watching things on TikTok, and they're getting this false sense that somehow everything's on fire. And yet in our office, we're still getting approvals and green cards arriving daily and people becoming citizens daily. And we want to make sure that you understand that, when you get outside of that world where you're seeing the horrible news, it's business as usual at Gardner Mendoza. And we've got the green cards and the naturalization certificates to prove it.
Our clients are swearing in to become
US citizens. Please just, like I said,
just do the thing.
Take a deep breath, give us a call, and let's get started. Let's go.
All right, really quickly. And if some of you are thinking, well, it's going to take forever during this Trump administration, naturalization applications are taking about 7 months. Green card times have actually come down as well. And one of the fastest naturalization cases we filed it end of May, and they have an interview on June 11th. So that was super fast, and we like to see it. Like, let's get these cases through. Let's do it.
All right, real quick, Jed or Ged, I'm sorry, I'm not sure which way to pronounce that. It's not really a question. He says, I come from one of the banned countries, but I have a green card.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'm assuming the question is, should I be concerned?
Yeah, you should be able to come back and travel in. You are, as a permanent resident, generally speaking, going to be exempt from the ban. Those who are banned, because you have a green card.
Okay.
Let's get to the next question while you're looking at that. Arlene says, I sent you a message earlier, and then she posts it again here. It's a very long message. And I did see the message. I'm so glad you posted again because I read it pretty quickly. Okay. So Arlene says, let me try to summarize. I'm not summarizing. Let me read it. If you are a U.S. citizen, she's found some research. The petition may be converted to F3 category. She would retain the original priority date, but face a longer waiting time for a visa. Yes, all of that is true. Inform NVC about the change in marital status. Provide your case number. Da 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 da. Yep, all of that is true. Request that her petition be reclassified based on her new marital status. Yep. And she is going to retain the original priority date. Yes, that is good news. And Miss Bradley says needs counsel regarding the change of her status in her scheduled interview. And I think that another part of the question, from my recollection of reading the question earlier, is husband is from Taiwan. Maybe relocating to Taiwan is going to be faster. She's still going to have the same priority date from the Philippines, unfortunately. Wait a minute. Is husband from Taiwan? Sorry. Can you, Ms. Bradley, is husband from Taiwan? That's an important question. Or are they just moving to Taiwan? I think he's Filipino still. If he's Filipino still, then they retain the same priority date. If he's from Taiwan, then we could do cross-chargeability and get a faster priority date.
Cross-chargeability.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Next question.
While you're looking at that, I just
yeah, sure.
Say hi to my mom. I just saw her come on there. Hi, Mama.
Thanks for coming.
My mom comes.
He's Taiwanese. Miss Bradley, make an appointment with me.
Miss Bradley, make an appointment. We've got the closest thing to magic.
No, wait a minute. Let's just look at the visa photo real quick. Okay. Can we grab the next question while I'm looking at this?
This was a Houdini move out of one of our first cases.
First case ever.
Yeah.
Worked on in the history of Gardner education.
Okay. McDon has an interesting quick question here. McDon says, how long does it take for the DOJ, the Department of Justice, to respond after submitting a case to LEA applying for T visa?
You know, that's a really good question. Unfortunately, we don't do T visas, and or we haven't. No, I believe one of our attorneys is working on one, but I do not know the answer to that question. Do you know the answer to that question?
I do not. That's why I said this is an interesting one. A little outside of our, despite our 25 years, McDon, I apologize. You've stumped us on that one.
Because we don't do those types of cases.
Because we don't do those types of cases.
Yeah. All right. Well, Miss Bradley has given us another bit of information. You see, you got to know this information. This is good information. So cross-chargeability may apply in this case. And what cross-chargeability is, everyone, I was going to say ladies and gentlemen, everyone, is you can use the priority date of your spouse if the country of your spouse, if the priority date is more favorable than the direct beneficiary's country's priority date. Yeah. We will discuss, Ms. Bradley. Go ahead and make that appointment, regular appointment. See you soon. All right. Yeah. I'm glad you came back.
And you know, that question, I just, so you don't get, I just want to remind everyone again that we, with these questions, again, the reason this is not legal advice is because we're dealing with limited facts here. So there's a lot that we have to unpack. So when you actually schedule a consultation, we can really, drill down and make sure that we're getting all the correct facts so that we can get a perfect answer for you. Even if it's an answer that you don't like and is not the answer you want. If you're one of our clients or you have a consultation, at least you know the correct answer.
Yep.
Okay, Missing in Action, who asked us how we were doing, which was kind. And then we asked him how he was doing, which was polite on our part as well.
Polite, I like that. This is not kind, it's polite.
Kind and polite.
Call is kind, just polite. There's some good manners,
Kind and polite.
You taught your son well.
He says, can I apply right away for citizenship when I receive my 10-year permanent residency?
Really great question. I know this is going to help everybody here. So when you file when you file, sorry, when you get a green card, that is a 2-year green card. Okay. And it's a conditional green card, and you remove the conditions on that green card, and then you get your 10-year green card. I believe the question is, now I have the 10-year card. The time has passed. I'm eligible to apply for US citizenship. I just got the card. The answer is, if you are eligible for citizenship, and we're talking about conditional, and you got your conditional card, and it's been 2 years and 9 months since you got your conditional card, yes, you can apply for US citizenship. You can even apply for US citizenship even if you don't have the 10-year card and the I-751 is still pending. So the requirements, though, are missing actions that you have to have lived with your spouse and been married to your spouse for 3 years prior to filing that N-400. So hope that helps.
Yeah.
And if you need help with that, we'll be happy to help you file your N-400 for you. We're
That's
doing
right.
it all day long and having a great time.
I was just going to say the exact words, all day long.
All day long.
What? I guess we've been married longer than we've been law partners. So there you have it.
Just by a couple of years, right?
Just by a couple of years.
Is it 27?
Yeah, coming up. And Ms. Bradley is going to make an appointment.
Yay.
Give us a call. That's fantastic. We'll let the team know to be on the lookout for that. Okay. So we had the GEMS question, and we just, let's see here.
Okay, wait, we have a question here.
Yeah, there was
I skipped over.
Yeah,
Russell.
Russell had a question. I saw that too.
So Russell got his green card March of this year, married to a U.S. citizen. Congratulations on getting your green card in March. I would like to travel to Canada in November. I need info on what to do during coming back here. So Russell, coming back here, you need your country's passport and your permanent resident card to come back to the United States. Where's Russell from? So I don't know where you're from, Russell, but some country, and this is not your question, but you may need a visa to go to Canada, depending on what country you're from. That's the one thing that.
And you may want to double check. I don't know what your criminal background is. Canada has some interesting rules about who can enter, and those with certain convictions have to have a waiver to do it.
Yep.
DUI would be an example.
Yes. And yeah. And Russell, if you've been here the whole time, and if you haven't been here the whole time, watch from the beginning. I'm going through some things that would be a problem for you to travel outside of the country. You probably don't have any of those things, hopefully. And you should be able to be coming in just fine on your permanent resident card, with your permanent resident card and your valid passport, and make sure it has at least 6-month validity. I don't know if Canada has that rule, but it might. And if it does, you're going to want to have 6-month validity on that passport.
That's right.
6-month validity has bit me twice now.
Well,
not yet. It didn't
people probably would rather have their questions answered than hear a long story. But yeah, we have a really great story involving that. Maybe another night.
Maybe another night. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny.
Landed Raised Runner wants to know, is there any concern with people who will have to renew their 10-year green card?
Yes, potentially. If you have to renew your 10-year green card and you have a criminal conviction that could make you deportable, yes, that is a concern. Yep. We're actually dealing with a couple of cases like that now. And if you have a conviction and you're trying to renew that green card, just please reach out to an immigration lawyer, immigration attorneys like us, and make sure all is well before you renew that green card.
Right. I mean, one of the reasons you need to be extra careful right now is just simply that this administration, even beyond, again, all the stuff you see on the news, is just taking a much more hardline approach to a lot of the things. And there are all kinds of areas, not just in immigration law. There are all kinds of areas in the law where, quite frankly, there's a lot of discretion for officers, for the judiciary, and for government agencies. and things that maybe were just, given a pass or letting it slide by in the past are not giving that same consideration now. So don't, be careful if you're somebody say, oh, you don't have to worry about that. I had the same thing 3 years ago and they told me they don't even care. It's not a big deal. Maybe that was true 3 years ago. It may not be true now. So make sure that you are dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And again, calling us before you do anything is my advice. That's always my advice, but
that's my advice too. So now it's 2 against 0. Okay, that's right.
I'm trying to think. That's right. Nobody out there is, I'm looking, nobody out there is pushing back on
no
this.
one's just
us.
like,
Okay.
no, that's not good advice. It's 2 against 0. So we're winning at this point. All right.
That's right.
Was that from there?
Yes.
Or from here? Okay.
It was from TikTok.
Mayo has a really great question. Everybody listen up.
Oh, I love the picture there too.
Where are we?
I don't know.
Where are we, Mayo?
Where is that, Mayo?
Let us know where you are in the comments and I'll answer your question.
Very lovely.
But if you don't let us know, then we won't. That's not true. I will still will. All right. Mayo says, my mom has received a tourist visa and I want to petition her. Would it be a faster process to petition her while she is in country or in the Philippines? All right. This is a good question. And here's the thing about answering a question like this. The first thing that I want to tell you is when your mom comes to visit you, she cannot have immigrant intent. Now, I'm not saying she does have immigrant intent. You want to petition for your mom. Your mom may not want to be petitioned for. Your mom may not want to immigrate to the United States. I have no idea. Maybe she does. But, and this is for everyone who's coming in on a tourist visa. And for that matter, applying for a tourist visa. If you are applying for a tourist visa and let's say mom is sneaky, okay? Let's say mom is just like, I know that if I say that I have a US citizen daughter living in the United States, my tourist visa is probably not going to get approved. Let's say mom has that mindset, right? And she does not put that she has any family members in the United States on her visa application. And that's a misrepresentation, right? So she goes, they approve it, and then mom goes to the United States. Immediately, daughter petitions for mom, and within 15 days of entering the United States, I'm making this really bad. 15 days of entering the United States, she goes to her interview, and they start asking her questions. Okay, what did you tell the immigration officer when you came into the United States? And she says, oh, I told her that I was visiting my sister. Did you visit your sister when you came and entered the United States? No, I did not. So you told the officer that you were visiting your sister, but you haven't seen your sister yet. Misrepresentation number 2, right? You're lying to the officer to get into the United States so they don't ask you a bunch of questions and will leave you alone, right? If you say, oh, I'm coming to visit my daughter. Your daughter lives in the United States. What is she doing here? Oh, my daughter's a US citizen. Oh, how long are you staying? Do you have a return ticket? No, I don't have a return ticket. My daughter is planning on filing a petition for me. You're not coming into the United States, right? So I'm kind of like blabbering along, but the point is that you may have this intent that, like, hey, I'm jazzed up. My mom got this tourist visa, but your mom cannot come to the United States on the tourist visa with the intent to become an immigrant and get a petition filed for her and have an adjustment of status filed for her.
Right. Because she's getting the tourist visa on the representation that she's here to tour around a little bit and then head home.
Right. And Mayo, I'm not saying that your mom did any of these things. Again, Mayo's mom didn't do any of these things. These are all just hypotheticals.
We are making up all this whole
We're
fact pattern.
We're making up the whole fact pattern. But my point in saying all of this, not just to Mayo, but to all the people who are planning to come to the United States on a tourist visa, is you have to be really careful about not making any type of misrepresentation. You need to tell the truth about why you are coming to the United States. And you shouldn't hide the truth. You shouldn't obscure the truth. And if you do make a misrepresentation, it can negatively impact an adjustment of status application filed later in the United States. And I know that at least one or two colleagues, because I'm on a listserv and I get daily just all the things that are going around in the United States. And at least a couple of colleagues have said, the questions at the interview are tougher, and they're going to the intent of why you came into the United States and what did you tell the Customs and Border Protection officer at the airport, and what did you say in order to get your visa. So these things you have to be super careful about. I'm not saying it can't be done, Mayo. We do it all the time. We do adjustment of status for people who come in on a tourist visa all the time. It's one of our main practice areas, but you just have to be careful and mindful and not, you can have the plan, fine, but your mom can't have the plan. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you want to know more about this, please, I really urge you to give us a call and make a consultation with me. And so we can get deeper into this.
She can't have that intent. She can't have the intent, oh, I'm going to be a tourist for the purpose of getting in to do this petition.
Yeah. And, and I interview people all the time as potential new clients. And sometimes, when a potential client is telling me about like all the lies they have told in order to get their visa, in order to get through the airport. And then now they're sitting here married to a citizen, and I break the news, like, we got to file a waiver for misrepresentation. I mean, I can't check no on these boxes on this. It's a specific question. Have you ever lied in order to get a visa? So.
Okay. Good question. Great answer. And Maya, we're still waiting for you to tell us where this lovely picture was taken. We can see behind you, looks like something quite nice. Okay.
Really quick. Is it true they have paused green cards? No, Luisa, absolutely not. They have not paused green cards. You can still file if you are eligible. Please don't anyone spread the rumor that green cards are paused. Is it more scrutiny? Probably. Is it slower? Not necessarily. It's actually faster right now. Processing times are faster. So no, they're not paused, and please reach out and let us help you with that. All right. Next question.
Yeah, we got Grace, but before we get to Grace, Queen over here wanted to know, Queen got on pretty early. Can I travel domestically with DACA at this moment?
Yes, you should be able to travel domestically with DACA, that it's current, and you have real ID, or if you don't have a real ID, some other form of identification that is accepted, like your passport.
Yep.
So,
okay.
I mean, I would travel with everything, right? Your work authorization, travel with your approval notice. Mm-hmm. Just be prepared. You can't be over prepared.
Do you? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too cynical. I always ask the question, like where are you headed? Is it within 3 hours drive? I mean,
No, they can travel.
I know you can. I'm just saying that, it's kind of like surfing. The odds of getting a shark bite are low, but you can make those odds zero by just staying on the beach.
Staying out of the shark-infested waters. Yeah. Thank you so much, Luisa, for trusting us with your husband's case.
I went like this because we live by the water. Yeah. It's right out there in the ocean.
Okay, let me grab, is this a good question here? I mean, they're all great questions. I became a legal resident 6 years ago, but my children never received their green card. I am now a citizen. Do I have to file a form so they can become citizens? The oldest is 16 now. So why did the children never become permanent residents? So this really all depends. I mean, where are the kids? I have a lot of follow-up. Where are the children located? Are they here in the U.S.? What status are they in if they are not permanent residents? And if they, because I'm reading this, they never received their green card. So maybe you filed for the green cards, but they never actually received the cards, but they are actually permanent residents. So yes, your children may be able to derive citizenship from you. I would just need to know more information. But great question, Grace Marie.
Yeah,
and I'm
Grace.
glad you are looking out for your children. Everyone who has minor children
Yes.
and who are not U.S. citizens, or who are U.S. citizens but don't have any paperwork to show that they are U.S. citizens, please follow in Grace Marie's footsteps here and ask the questions and get your children the documentation.
Yeah, if you have minor children, well, I guess that's a redundancy. If you have minors, if you have children, you wouldn't have minors. If you have children, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out what you're going to do, and you need to do it ASAP.
Okay. So Grace Marie thinks there's something wrong that they, well, I don't know if you think there's something wrong, but Grace says they're here, they got their social security cards, but never their green cards. I mean, if you apply for their green cards, they never actually received the physical cards. We really need to look into that, because if they, if they are permanent residents now and you naturalize while they're under the age of 18, they should be U.S. citizens. So please reach out to us, make a consultation with us, guys. For those of you who are listening, we charge $295 for a consultation. It will be a Zoom consultation. All of our initial consultations are Zoom. Even if you live across the street from our office, they're all through Zoom. We're able to serve many people that way. And, we would love to meet with you and answer really important questions like this. So I'll give you a quick story here. I had a client from 15 years ago reach out to me, and I remember my clients, and I remember some of them more than others, but I remember this client. And at the time, when she naturalized to become a U.S. citizen, we did a U.S. passport for her daughter because it was cheaper. And at the time she was, she couldn't afford, or she said she couldn't afford doing the N600, which is the certificate of citizenship. Now, 15 years later, her daughter needs a certificate of citizenship for her work. They're not just taking the U.S. passport. And now we're having to do, a rush certificate of citizenship so daughter can be to start work in her career. So, and it was around $900 back then for the certificate. It is now $1,385 for the certificate of citizenship. So it's up there as far as filing fees are concerned, but you have to think about your kids. You don't want your kids, and we've seen this too many times, to have to deal with this as an adult. And they're trying to join the military. They're trying to do something great, but they can't, right? They can't get the security clearance they need. They can't work at their dream job because, oh my gosh, mom or dad didn't get me the certificate of citizenship when I was a minor. They had one thing to do and they just didn't do it. And yes, it is your fault, parents. So that's why, Grace Marie, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for looking out for your
your
children who are not adults yet, but they're 16. I mean, they probably.
And good question.
Yeah, great question. All right.
And she's going to call tomorrow, so thank you. Good choice. I'll let the team make sure to be on the lookout for that call. All right, Grace.
Okay. Next question.
Just flipped off.
Thanks for the love, TikTok. And I know that Facebook is giving us a lot of love too, but we just can't see it.
Yeah,
TikTok's got,
it's just eclipsing everything.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes us feel good. Like all the love, all the hearts. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
So Ashkula, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name, wants to know is a humanitarian parole case affected by the travel ban? My family has done their interview.
Is humanitarian parole affected by the travel ban? I mean, it could potentially be affected by the travel ban if you are from one of the said countries that are banned. I don't know the answer to that question directly, though. Like, certainly, I'm not certain about the answer to that question. Sorry.
Yeah, some of these things.
We don't know all the answers. We can definitely find out the answers.
Yeah, and
don't know all the
especially
answers.
Things that are sort of unfolding. There's always a time where we need a little, when there are new executive orders and policy changes, it takes a little time to sort of see what's happening down on in the field offices for these things. And Jamal wants to know, for the interview of the I-485, what do I need to take with me?
Yeah. Congratulations on your interview for the 485. If you're doing it based on marriage to U.S. citizen or permanent resident, then you need to, number one, take documents to show that you are in a bona fide marriage and a bona fide relationship, right? So that's the most common type of I-485. And we're talking about joint bank accounts, leases, maybe a couple of photographs if you've traveled together, that documentation, health insurance, car insurance, Costco club memberships, anything that you have that has both names. If you are employed and when you got married to your spouse, you added your spouse to your human resources document as your, just in case of in case of emergency, all of these things. If you adopted a dog together, that information, no, I'm serious. The vet bills. I mean, we've used all of this documentation and collectively to show your life together. So that's based on marriage to U.S. citizen. Of course, you want to also bring things like your passport and your original documents that you filed with your application. So bring your original marriage certificate, bring your spouse's proof of birth in the United States if they're a United States citizen, like their original birth certificate or their passport. Anything that you filed that was a copy, you want to bring the original in the event that the immigration officer wants to take a look at the original. That doesn't happen very often, but it may start happening even more and more. So bring your, also your notice to get into the building, right? That's kind of fundamental, but, bring your notice so you can get into the building and actually get to your interview.
Yeah.
And practice, just practice looking at your applications and asking, maybe even asking each other the questions so you're not as nervous.
Yep.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Maybe if you listed your spouse as, somewhere we listed them in case of emergency contact or, a death benefit. If something happens to me, this is how I want to get all my stuff.
Power of attorney.
Things that you would only do for your spouse if it was real.
Okay. Yeah, Grace Marie says that her oldest wants to start working while in school. That's great. But they're going to need that documentation. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, okay. So, boy, they just are jumping all over. I keep losing them.
Appreciate the questions, guys. The questions are not just helping you, but hopefully they're helping others who are listening now or who may be tuning in later. For those who are watching this later, hello, welcome. And I will just, while John's pulling up that next question, I'm going to reintroduce ourselves. My name is Radlin Mendoza, and this is my husband and law partner, John Gardner. We are the owners of Gardner Mendoza Immigration Law. We are physically located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, but we serve all people in all states and all over the world because we do immigration. And we're celebrating our 25th year anniversary as a law firm and 27 years as a married couple with 3 children. So that is a little bit about us. And you can reach out to us through Messenger on Facebook. You can call our office, 757-464-9224, or leave a comment.
Okay, did we get Wally yet? I have asylum. I have asylum approval. Am I at risk of deportation?
You should not be at risk of deportation if you have an approved asylum case. Thank you so much, Arlene.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the one I was trying to get back to. Rickson wanted to know, I just became a citizen with a certificate. I applied for a passport last week. Is domestic travel okay?
What's the question? Can he travel?
Yeah, just became a citizen, has a certificate, naturalization certificate, applied for a passport last week, does not have the passport yet.
Is it domestic travel?
And wants to travel domestically.
Yes, you should be fine.
Yeah.
But again, make sure you have a real ID.
Make sure you have real ID. Okay.
Guys, I got my passport card. So I applied for a passport and I went ahead and spent the extra money for a passport card. I think it's still in my wallet because I traveled and I was able to use the passport card to get on the airplane because I do not have a real ID, but I do have a US passport card. It's very convenient.
Okay, Norma wants to know, is it a good time to apply for citizenship if you are a permanent
It's a great
resident?
time to apply for US citizenship. It's always a great time to apply for US citizenship if you are eligible. And yes, yes, and yes. If you're asking if it's a good time to apply for US citizenship, what that means to me is you probably were eligible to file for US citizenship like 10 years ago, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm teasing. Most people procrastinate. It is a great time to apply for US citizenship. The last case that we filed, we got a very quick interview within a matter of a couple of months. Even then, the posted time said 7 months, a couple of months. And so please, if you are eligible, file for US citizenship. Trust me. Trust me on this one.
Okay, scrolling back down here, Missing in Action did get back to us to answer our question. He said he's doing very well, sir and ma'am.
All right. Thank you for that update.
Okay. Wow. These are really
A lot of questions.
Yeah,
Thanks, TikTok, for all the love. Just grab a question.
Yeah, before I can even read it, it pops off again. Okay, I'm a green card holder and I'm going to the Philippines.
John, so let's work together. You read the front part.
I'm green card holder going to the Philippines for 13 months, 13 days this coming November.
Great.
No criminal record.
Awesome. You should be good to go.
My EAD processing time says, this is somebody different, Dwayne. My EAD processing time says 3 months at NBC office. It's been 4 months. Still no decision what to do.
So, is it EAD or NBC?
EAD processing time says 3 months at NBC office.
Okay.
It's been 4 months.
I would just give a couple more months, a little bit of patience. You can, if it's outside of processing times, posted processing times, then you can actually make an inquiry with USCIS. So I would do that. I would make an inquiry. I would call their customer service number and say, hey, my case is outside of processing times based on your posted processing times, and they will log it in, and then you have an inquiry and you can make another one in 30 days. That's what you can do right now. If it goes longer and longer past the posted processing times, you can reach out to your do a congressional request, say, hey, look, I need help with this. Sometimes that is helpful. Sometimes it's absolutely not helpful, but it's definitely worth a try.
Okay. King Felipe says, is it still safe to travel out of the country if you're a green card holder? King, we've talked about that a lot.
The answer is yes, it is safe with some
caution.
Come check out at Gardner Mendoza Law on Facebook and watch what we said.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this earlier.
Yeah, criminal convictions, be careful. Traveling outside the United States for too long, be careful. And if you're very active in things that might be deemed to be anti-U.S. government and terrorist activities, be careful. And you said 4 to 5 months. I saw that. Are you traveling outside of the United States for 4 to 5 months very frequently and then coming back to the United States for a week and then going back out for 4 to 5 months and going back and forth? You also have to be careful with that. CBP does not like that. Well, they don't like that after a couple of times. I don't know how long they'll let you do it now, but probably not too many times. And the reason why is the question is like, are you actually living in the United States or have you abandoned your green card? It looks like you're leaving for 4 to 5 months, coming back to the United States for a couple of weeks, going back out again. You got to be careful with that because they might think you're trying to abandon. All right. I have a question here from Melanie. I'm going to grab this.
Abdul said good evening. Good evening,
Hi.
Abdul.
Good evening.
Okay.
Good day. I have a question. I'm an F3 category, a married son and daughter since 2015. My case was migrated last June
7th, 2024.
When is my expectation date? So we're talking about a visa bulletin. So she's on F3 2015. I would have to know, Melanie, what country you're from, but you can take a look at the visa bulletin. So this is for everyone, right? Google visa bulletin and June 2025, and the June 2025 visa bulletin will pop up. Don't pay for this. Don't pay to look at this. Just it's free, and you can see what the wait times are, the visa wait times for your category F3, your country, and you should be able to check it out there. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, we're at the 1 hour mark.
We had a lot of great, wonderful
Yeah.
questions and so many more that we haven't gotten to.
Norma had the best question that I wanted to answer. The last question was, do you take cases from all over the U.S.? Yes, Norma, we do. We have clients all over the United States. In fact, we have clients all over the world. So it doesn't matter where you are. We can absolutely help you. We conduct business exactly the same with you, whether you're in another country, another state, or right here in Virginia Beach, where our brick and mortar office is.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let me answer Jane's real quick. Mom just applied N400 in May, but she needs to go back to Manila for a surgery. Is it safe though? Yes, if mom doesn't have any of these issues that we talked about, and if you just joined, then please come to our Facebook and watch this recording. But you can travel if you file your N400 application. You are still able to go outside of the United States. Again, just watch out for spending too much time outside the United States. Don't travel out for more than 6 months. And I hope that your mom's surgery goes okay.
Yeah.
And, if there is a situation where, maybe she has to recover for a longer period than she expected, then she needs to have that documented when she comes back into the country. But just because you filed for N400 doesn't mean you cannot travel outside the United States while that application is pending. I would try to wait to get biometrics if biometrics are scheduled for your mom before going, so the case can just keep continuing. If your mom is still outside of the country when she receives an interview notice, you can ask USCIS to continue that to a later time due to your mom being outside of the United States. And then we had someone here who wants to say that he's also Mendoza. We're probably related.
Mm-hmm. And Missing in Action, you're very welcome.
You're so welcome. Everybody is so welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for being here
everyone.
and being so active. Wonderful questions.
Great
We will see you
questions
next
tonight.
Wednesday because it's a new night, Wednesday night.
All right. Two thumbs
thumbs
up,
up.
everybody. Stay the course.
Take care. Bye-bye, guys.